Hey, good morning, and welcome to Leave It Love. Leave It Love, the channel. This is a spiritual channel. I talk about spiritual things. I do return to senders. I do return to senders all the time. I do return to senders for the purpose of returning energy back to wherever it is coming from. Energy. You can't see it, you can't prove it. You just have to know how to protect yourself. I spray. I got my splash. It's the Lead with Love splash. I call it the spiritual splash. It's a spiritual splash. It has a lot of herbs. A lot of herbs in here. It has a lot of things in here to help keep evil away. It's also to enhance your psychic, your intuition, clarity, to protect you against evil. Is rose water for your heart chakra. You don't want to be fucked up. You don't want to hate nobody. It's like, we all go through things in life. So this one is gonna be a story time. I'm gonna do my return to senders as I start talking, but it's like, oh my god, oh my god. you know, I never wanted to tell anyone or talk. I never wanted to talk about it. It was just a moment in time that had passed, and I was just thankful to get over it. Like it's over, it's past, it's not in my life. I don't have to deal with stuff like this anymore. But I learned the hard way. Like, don't live with nobody. Don't have nobody live with you. It's just, even if they need help, don't help them. They're always gonna have a way. There's always a way for them to be on their own. You know, this is the time of my sister, right? Because my sister and this house is a big deal because the house, she just lies. She lies about everything. She lies about everything. She's not all there. But whatever, that's my sister, so I could say that, like, she not all up there. She's crazy, but she's educated. So it's cleaned up in her education. So you got, oh, she's smart. She got her master's. Oh, she got her PhD. Oh, she's smart. You real smart. Yeah, but you're doing some slick, some slick things. Forgery, falsifying documents. You're getting information it's just a whole bunch of shit. Because I remember when she wanted to do my birth chart. She wanted to know my birth chart. She was asking me my time of birth, where was I born. She was asking me all kinds of questions. I'm thinking that she's doing my birth chart, but she's doing some other stuff. Like, I think I even gave her my social, everything. So I was like, oh, that's my sister. Like, what's she gonna do with that? So I just shared the information, not thinking anything of it. I'm like, oh, that's my sister. Like, she not gonna do nothing like to hurt me, or she not. I'm thinking she's not gonna do anything. But my sister's the only person that has my personal information like that, because she asked me. She called me to ask me my personal information. And I didn't think nothing of it. There was a time that her daughters lived in my house. Her daughter, she got twin daughters. Twin daughters. They were 23 at the time, but they look little. They look little. They look like teenagers. They look really young. So I didn't really understand like their age. Like, I'm thinking that they're kids. And she kicked them out the house, and then they in my mother's house, and I think it was Thanksgiving. It was something. It was a holiday, and everybody was at her house. And I was like, why? What happened? Like, all the girls was there, and they was like, oh, she kicked us out, that this, that. And I'm like, what? And my mother doesn't have her own place. My sister has 3 kids of her own. My brother has 3 kids. So it's like 6 kids in the house, plus my mother, my brother, and then my sister, my other sister. I was like, oh, they can't stay there. I was like, there's no room. Where are you gonna put them? So I took them home with me. We rode the train because I don't have a car. We rode the train back here, and I had an air mattress. Like, I found, no, someone gave us an air mattress. So I had an air mattress. I was like, you could use the air mattress because no one, I don't use it. I have it, but I don't use it. I was like, you can use it. So I had them sleeping in the living room. Like, so I wasn't, and I was still a YouTuber, but I was recording in my room. So when I first started YouTube, I was in my room. When I first started, I didn't have a lot of subscribers. I was in Burlington. I was working in Burlington. When they were living with me, I was in Burlington, and then when they were with me, I opened a nonprofit organization. It's like a lot of stuff. I just was moving forward. It's like I got to keep going. I left the courthouse. I wasn't in the courthouse, but then I took on these girls. I'm thinking they're young, they're in their 20s. I'm like, oh shit, you in your 20s? I was like, oh, you in your 20s. And then, I'm by myself. They don't help me. They don't pay no bills. They don't buy no food. They don't do anything. So it was like a burden. I just took on a burden. I was like, you know what? You got to get on public assistance, or you got to do something for yourself to help yourself. So they didn't even know what public assistance was. They didn't know about going to public assistance to get help. I took them there to get help. I stayed with them to fill out applications and do whatever you need to do so that they can help you. It was like they got the help they needed. I was like, okay. They didn't get health insurance because their father pays for health insurance, because she divorced the father, but then it was just a nasty divorce. They was fighting for everything. I think he took her pension. He took half her pension, whatever, and he has to pay child support because they're still in college or whatever. So he's still paying support. So that's how I know with my case, like they closed my case, but it's like how you can close my case and my son is a college student. Like, why would you close the case? But whatever, you have to go through things in order for you to figure shit out, and it starts clicking, and it's like, oh, everybody want to play these fucking games, whatever. They couldn't get health insurance with public assistance because they had their father's insurance. I was like, you got insurance. I was like, you got your father's insurance. I was like, you're gonna have to talk to your father. They don't even talk to their father. I was like, why you don't talk to your father? Their mother, my sister, doesn't let them talk to the father, but they're grown. And then he wanted to help them, but he's like, they're not mentally, like he didn't want to be responsible for them because they don't know how to take care of themselves, because they're not, they could be 23, but their mentality is not like they 23. It's like they don't know nothing. They don't know how to do anything for themselves. I'm like, oh my God. So it's like, I'm independent. I raised my kids to be independent. Like, they know how to do everything. My kids know how to do everything. And I got them all their stuff. I got their passport, their ID, New York State ID. They got their driver's license. I was like, you can get your shit together, because once you hit a certain age, I can't do anything for you. I was like, you got to do everything for yourself. So they had their things together before they turned 18. Because I'm like, once you turn 18, I can't do anything for you. Then you're going to have to do it for yourself. Like, I taught my kids, like, that's how I taught them. You got to learn how to do everything for yourself. Wash dishes, wash clothes. You got to cook. You got to clean. You got to learn. You got to learn. These girls didn't know how to do anything. They didn't have hygiene. Like, you take a shower every day. You brush your teeth. You do what you got to do. They didn't have hygiene. They didn't know how to cook. They didn't know how to do anything. I was like, what the fuck were, like, what was going on, in the house? And it was like they were like lost like they didn't know what was going on. Like, they would just go to school. It was like they were in, not limbo, but it was like they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what was real, what was fake. And my sister raised them like they were like little babies. Or, oh, you want this? She would do everything for them. They didn't buy their own clothes. When they came here, they didn't have clothes. They had clothes from when they were like 10, young girl clothes. They were skinny. They wasn't eating because she's insecure. My sister, oh, you're fat. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. So they wasn't even eating. Their dental wasn't taken care of. Their teeth was rotting because they wasn't taking care of the teeth. They wear glasses. Their glasses, they haven't been to the eye doctor in years. So they needed new glasses. The glasses on their face was when they were a little girl. Like these are grown women, 23 years old. They need adult glasses. They need adult things, and I had to run around and take they grown, and teach them how to do things, teach them how to buy clothes. They will buy. I'm just glad that they're okay, because when they left this place, it's like I had to teach them how to do things for themselves. I had to teach them about public assistance. I had to teach them how to do basic things. They didn't even know how to be around people, how to apply for a job. She got the job working in the library. She works in Manhattan Library. Like that's the big library. And she was a temp there. They didn't want to hire her, but then she stayed and she goes to work every day like she does her job, like she's a good employee. And they hired her. She's a librarian now. And I'm like, I'm just so proud of her. And they live in New Jersey, you know, and she's going back to school. She's going, because they want educated people in the library. She was going to school, she was failing all her classes. It's because she wasn't motivated to study. Like she didn't have a reason to study. She was just going to school to go to school. Like she didn't have a reason. Now she got a reason because she got this job, and this job is giving her the motivation to go to school and get her shit together. You know, I'm like, okay. And the other one does coding. Coding. She's technical. She's all tech. She doesn't deal with people too good. She's not. I don't know. All I know is that she does tech. She does coding. Coding. And they live together in Jersey. They have the apartment in Jersey. One of them wants her own place. She wants to get married. Like she wants to have her own life. She don't want to live with her sister for the rest of her life. But the other one, I don't think she can live without the sister. So whatever. It's a moment in time. It had passed, and I'm glad that you know I raised my kids differently. I raised them to be independent. You never know what a person is going through. Like I never knew what they were going through. Like I thought they were little. I thought they were little kids. When I saw them, I thought they was little. They grown adults. They grown. And I'm like, oh shit. And then I'm trying to get them everything that they need, and then they're still under the father's insurance because he's still paying child support because she's a college student. So that's how I know they're not supposed to cut the child support because they're in college. That's how I know that, because my sister's husband is still paying child support for his kids because they're college students. So I'm like, who closed my case in in the Bronx Supreme Courthouse in family court? Who closed the case? It was 80,000. He's supposed to still be making. He wasn't ever making any payments. The payments was supposed to be coming out of whatever It was supposed to be accumulating. It was still supposed to be accumulating because the child is still in school. You know, Somebody closed my case. Who closed the case? Nobody does their job. It's just like, so it's like nothing clicks. You have to go through things and figure things out. That's how I figured out with the court case and things. Like they're not supposed to just close my case. Everything is documented. You're supposed to have proof of whatever is filed. With the kids, it's like I love the kids. I love kids. I care about children. I care about the welfare of a child. Like you're supposed to take care of your kids. You're supposed to teach your kids how to do things for themselves so that when they grow up, they're able to take care of themselves without their parent. That's what we as parents are supposed to do. And I was just so upset with my sister. Like, how can you do this to these girls? Like, you got them, like they're not okay. Like they need help. They need help. They need somebody to teach them how to do things because they don't know how to do anything for themselves. And I'm just like, how can you do this to them and raise them like this and keep them like this and then think it's okay? And I had to get the father and tell him that the kids are in this house and like they need help, or can you see them, or can you pick them? I had to get him to get in touch with the kids or to see them more. And they have a good relationship with their father. But my sister is a hot mess. What happened? She kept them locked in the basement. They were locked in the basement. So they couldn't even go to the bathroom. They couldn't go in the shower. They couldn't do basic things. Like she didn't give them access to the house. You have a whole house with all these rooms and you kept your twins locked in the basement. The basement is for like the laundry machine and stuff like that. The basement is not big. It's small enough to have basic things, but they don't have a stove. They had a hot plate. They didn't have water, bathroom. You know, it's like, how can you leave them? They're growing. They're in their 20s. How can you leave them there like that? So they're thinking they're locked in the basement, but the backyard was always open. I don't know what they heard. They heard something in the house and they called the fire department, and the fire department like broke into the house, into the backyard, or into wherever they was at and got them out the house. And then she kicked them out the house because of that, because they called the fire department or they called the police to the house because they were afraid. And that's how they got out the house at 23 years old. She has them like mentally, like they're not okay. They're not okay. You know, I was living uncomfortable in my own house for about a year. I was uncomfortable. I was making my content in my room at the time. I wasn't in the living room because I had them in the living room. So I couldn't really like live in my house because in peace. I was like always in my room. I would eat in my room. It was just uncomfortable, but it was like I just wanted them to be okay, you know? I couldn't believe my sister did this to them, you know? She did that to them. The house, the house was like an abandoned property, you know? She lied and says that she got the house for cheap. Then she lies to my mother and says that, oh, her husband gave her the money to buy the house. And then she did all these renovations on the house because she didn't have to pay for the house. But all her money went into renovating the house and making it like new. And her daughters helped her fix the house. And the daughters thought this was going to be their forever home. But then she kicked them all out to be in the house with this man. And they do black magic. They try to get people in their community to join them and come with them. They do black magic, and I'm just like, oh my god. And they would tell me they would feel like they would know when stuff is going on. And the sulfur soap that I use, it was she. She told me about that sulfur soap because that's what they do. They do black magic, and that's how you wipe away. You wipe away that negative energy. Yeah, use this soap. I was like, what? What is it for? It's for acne. They was like, nah, it's good for getting rid of that negative energy because they're black magic practitioners. I was like, oh, that's how I know about the sulfur soap. Let me get the soap actually. Okay, so it's back on. So this is the soap, the sulfur soap. It's 10% sulfur in this soap, right? I didn't know about this soap. I looked it up on Amazon. Like I don't even know where they sell the soap, but they sell it on Amazon. That's where she got it from. And I was like, oh. And then I started looking up sulfur and I started looking up what is sulfur good for. Spiritually, what is sulfur good for? And I was just like, oh my God. But they would do black magic. They would have stuff for the community to come together, and then they would be like the leaders. and she was always inviting me to go. The twins told me, "Don't go, don't go to that, don't go." Like they know what their mother does. They know what the mother does with the husband because they do it together. And he has a master's in cybersecurity. So they sit there and they scam and they fraud and they do all this shit. They do it together, but they're smart. They're educated criminals. She has a PhD. She has a master's. He has a master's too. He has a master's in cybersecurity. My mother told me that. She has her PhD. She has, and she brags about her education, but she's dumb. She lacks common sense. It's like, it's just certain things you don't do. When it comes to magic, magic has consequences. You're not supposed to do certain things. You're supposed to try to get closer to God. You're supposed to love God, do things with God, do things with good intentions so that nothing comes back to you, so nothing happens to your kids. Because everything that you do in this life, it affects your children. Like I guess she just doesn't care because we all grow up the same way. We have the same mother, same father. I was in foster care. She was in foster care too. Like we was both in the same system. But she married young and had the kids, and it was a mess from there, you know. And I just was focused on myself. I aged out the group home. I aged out at 21, and I had to just get my shit together. I don't have time to sit here and play. Like, I'm not gonna be cursed. I'm not gonna have children and bring them into this world and then be cursed. Like, no, I'm not doing that. She didn't. I don't know. It's like we all grow up different. We all see things different. We all have a story. They have their story too. They love their mother, and they were always gonna make excuses for their mother. And I'm like, oh, like you supposed to be in the dentist. You supposed to go to the doctor. You supposed to get a checkup. You 23. You supposed to go to GYN. You supposed to go to the doctor. You supposed to get a physical every year. Like this is basic things. This is what you're supposed to do when you're growing up. When you're an adult, you're supposed to do this. Your mother was supposed to teach you this. They haven't been to the doctor in years. They don't know nothing. They haven't been to the doctor in years. They haven't seen a dentist in years. They haven't gone to the eye doctor in years. And they wear prescription glasses, so they need to go to the doctor to get their prescription changed because they don't have good vision. And I'm just like, oh my God. And then I had to do everything. Like I have my two kids, but my two kids are independent. Like they know how to do everything. But I had to teach them about public assistance because they didn't know. They're in Jersey, so I just hope that whatever happens, it transferred to Jersey. But we're in New York. I'm in New York. I'm in the Bronx. I'm in the South Bronx. And shit is different. Shit is different in the Bronx. In another state, it's different. And the house is in Brooklyn. The house is in Brooklyn. My whole family is in Brooklyn. I'm the only one in the Bronx. I'm the only idiot in the Bronx. I'm like, I wanted to get away from everybody. I didn't want to deal with nobody and they shit. I don't go to my mother's house anymore. I don't deal with nobody and they shit. I just couldn't believe like all the shit. And I don't have kids. I don't have babies. And then it just bothers me when kids are not going to school, when kids are not being taken care of properly. Like it bothers me. I'm gonna report you. I'm gonna report you. Like this is not okay. Like you're not supposed to be treating your kids like this. Like they're supposed to be going to school, getting an education. They're supposed to be eating. They're supposed to be having food, clothes in the house. They're supposed to know how to hygiene. To be clean. Like you don't teach your kids to be dirty and stinky like that. Like shit, like it just bothers me. It bothers me. Like if I see it, I'll take care of the kid. I'll take care of the kid. But then if it's too many of them, it's like a whole whole mob of kids. I'm like, oh, I gotta go. Yeah, I gotta go. I can't stay here. I don't know. I'm just talking about this shit because everybody has a story, and I'm just like, and then we gotta learn, move forward, keep moving forward. Don't stay stuck for too long. Whatever happened, they can have their own mental issues. They need help. They need to talk to somebody. You know, I try to do whatever I could for them while they were here. You know, but I'm just glad that you know that they live on their own and they have to do things for themselves now. But the only reason that they're like that is because they were here with me and they have ID and they have the stuff that they need. They didn't have none of that with my sister. Like she did not take care of them. It's like how can you have kids and not take care of the kids? It's like what's wrong? What's wrong? You have a house, a whole house with multiple rooms, and you live them in and you leave them in the basement. And the basement don't even have a bathroom. Like how they use the bathroom? They're girls. Girls get their period. You need to take a shower. Like you need. It's certain. You need things, and some things is just not okay. You know, and the sulfur soap. They would tell me about the sulfur soap, and they would tell me how bad the husband would smell. That he would smell so bad, but it's black magic. It's hygiene too. That's just some people. The culture they like it when they stink. I'm like, ooh, I don't like funky. I don't like stinky smells and funky. You stink. It's like, oh no. You need to do something about that because I don't think I can stay around a person that has hygiene problems. And this man would use the soap, to wipe away the black magic. And that's how I learned about the sulfur soap. And I would talk about this soap and I would be like, get the soap. They sell it on Amazon and use it if you're doing some shit. Get this soap because the sulfur is used to be rid of black magic. Is used to be rid of evil. So sulfur is good for that. I would get sulfur in the powder form and I would put it in the mop water and I would mop everything with the sulfur powder. And then they don't even sell it like in a lot. They sell it like it's not even an ounce. It's a little bag of sulfur, and it's crazy. But everybody lives different. Everybody grows up different. Everyone has their own story. Like these kids probably have their own story. They probably have so many things to say. You know and when I had them here, I remember the movie Flowers in the Attic. Flowers in the Attic when the mom locked the two kids up in the attic. And she kept them in the attic and she was feeding them, but she was poisoning them because she wanted them dead because she wanted to get married again and she wanted the inheritance and she wanted this and she wanted to act like she didn't have no kids and she had two kids up in the attic. I'm like, wow. And that's what she did with the twins. And nobody knew she had kids. Nobody knew because they were on online school. So they were in school, but it's online. They don't have social skills. They don't have anything. I'm like, wow. So it's hard, to deal with them because they don't know how to deal with people. But one is working in the library. I'm glad that she's in the library and she got a good job and she's doing good. Like she's okay and she's happy. She's happy. She was always like a happy. She's always looked for the positive side in things. Like she didn't hold on to resentment. She didn't hate her mother. All the things that happened, but she didn't hate her mother. The other one maybe is bitter, is upset, and is angry. But we all grow up different. We could be in the same house. We go through the same experience, but you're gonna go through it differently. You're gonna feel it differently, and everyone has a story. But that was a moment in time, you know. But I learned from that. Don't let nobody live with you. Don't let nobody live with you. No matter if it's family. Don't let nobody help live with you. Don't help them. Like let them deal with their own shit. I help these girls because it's like, it's kids. I had a soft spot for kids, but then they're not kids. They're adults. They're grown women. And I'm like, oh shit, these are grown women. I got grown women in my house. And then it's like I had to just teach them basic things and talk to them and just try to help them. Just try to help them. I didn't try to make them feel bad about anything, but they already felt bad, you know. But it's like it's really nothing I could really do, or just try to help them so that they can help themselves and they can move forward in life, you know. How I got out of them is that I had to tell my sister I'm gonna call what's that? I don't know. I'm gonna have to like an eviction notice or something. I was like, I'm gonna have to get them out the house, like file an eviction notice and get them out the house. Then from one day to the next day, she got them an apartment in New Jersey. And I'm like, wow, like you could have been got them an apartment in New Jersey, and I was in uncomfortable in my house for months, for months. But everything is learning experience. Like, what did you learn? Don't let nobody live with you, no matter what they're going through. Don't let nobody stay with you. Don't be uncomfortable in your own house. Like, this is my house. I'm not gonna be uncomfortable because I want to help somebody. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen to me again. I learned. That's the lesson I learned. My kids appreciate me because they were like, oh my, they couldn't believe like how these girls were and that they weren't being taken care of. They weren't going to the doctor. They didn't have basic things. And it's like, how can your sister do that? Like, and she got money. She make like 100K a year from her job. And it's like, how can you treat your kids like this? She buy them everything. No, she buys them everything, supposedly. Then they came here, they had old clothes. So it's like, where's the money? Where's the money going? It was in the new husband. She would spend it all on this new husband and forgot all about her kids. She got rid of all her kids for this new husband. And I'm just like, wow. And then the house is a whole nother story. And it's like, and she does black magic to everyone in her community. Black magic on the job, black magic on the family, the black magic to me, black magic to her kids. Like, that's what she does. Black magic causes mental insanity. It makes people go crazy. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, they doing stuff. They doing stuff. And I can never prove it. I will never be able to prove it. But her kids know. Her kids know. Her kids know what she does. And it's just like, then I just stay away. Mind my business and I stay away. And I asked her about the house and she didn't deny it. She didn't deny it. She didn't admit it. She deflected. She deflected to it. So I'm just like, like she did take that house from me. She did take whatever she did, she did it. And I'm just like, wow, like you did this shit to me. You did this to me. But I'm like, you know what? It's fine. Life goes on. You can't be mad forever. Can't be mad forever. It's gotta let things go. Everything takes time. It takes years. Nobody does their job, and it's just like, oh my god, black magic backfires. She did so much shit to so many people, and then when you address it, that's when it starts to backfire. So everything is gonna start falling apart, and it takes time. It takes time, and it's just like, wow. I'm just glad that the girls are okay, that they're okay, and they're living their lives and they're living a better life. Like they're okay. It's not that bad. That was just a moment in time. Live a love, stay positive, vibe high, mind your business. mind your business. I gotta tell myself that. Mind your business. Don't help nobody. You don't gotta put yourself in an uncomfortable situation like me trying to help people. And I just made myself uncomfortable in my own house. I was just like, oh my God. Oh my God. I was in my room for months. I was eating in my room. I was doing everything in my room. Like I was never in the living room because they was in the living room, and I was just uncomfortable in my own house. I was like, this shit is never going to happen to me again. Never. Leave it love. And I don't hate nobody. I'm just glad to get past things and move forward. Continue to move forward. Just move forward. Like it's in the past, leave it in the past. Don't talk about it. I don't never talk about it. I'm like, you know what? I got past this shit, and this shit is not gonna happen to me again. Moving forward, let's go. I love you. I love you though. I love you. I love you. Leave alive. Bye.